All right, fellas. Now, this is a impromptu video. There was no plan on making this. It's just the freaking video evidence makes it undeniable. And it's like, Sticky Ricky, I say this all the time, but I have no freaking choice but to say it again, fellas. Due to video evidence, it is in fact a freaking mindset, okay? Just a few days ago, I talked with you guys about how I want to start deadlifting every other day, specialization type deadlifting training again, you know what I mean? Getting back into that trend, Bulgarian basically. And so I got back to it. I started at 740, felt hard as hell. So I wasn't feeling the best that day. 740, absolute hard as hell, okay? 48 hours, not even 48 hours later. Let's say it's 43 hours later, 45 hours later, something like that. I do it again, okay? And I'm thinking, you know, if we can just hit 750 for one, you know, that'll be gravy. That's all I need. You know what I mean? Just a little bit of progress every day. That's the name of the game. Back in the specialization freaking, you know, training block, okay? Well, sure enough, fellas, the warm-ups are feeling good. The warm-ups start feeling good. The brain starts feeling confident. The brain starts feeling confident. The freaking body is capable, fellas. I don't know if you guys understand this yet, but I've been saying this for years. Our bodies are so much freaking stronger, and they're capable of so much more than what we think, okay? We have the freaking, I can't remember the mechanism of it. At one point I did. I knew the freaking scientific terminology, okay? Took the CSCS exam, the Certified Strength and Conditioning Specialist exam, smoked it without even studying, okay? Everyone's like, oh, it's so hard, I want to study for it. Listen, the Golgi tendon or something like that, basically, I don't even know what we're talking about, science. Screw science, that ain't the point. It's the freaking mindset. It's not a scientific game, okay? It's a freaking game of horsepower, right? And the fact of the matter is, fellas, I was feeling, you know, pretty good in those warm-ups. So instead of going 750, right? I said, frick it. Just absolutely frick it. Let's go 760, okay? And then before doing the set, I said, hell, I might go for 2. And then as the tunes are cranking, and the tunes are pretty freaking, you know, delicious, I said, hell, I might go for 3. As I'm putting the freaking straps on and my wife's filming me, I tell her, I say, frick, I'm gonna go for 5, right? And you know, all the people are huddling. You can't see the people because the people were watching like behind my wife filming. There's a guy watching behind, you know, a couple of people behind, and I can feel their eyeballs on me. So I'm like, you know, I gotta bring my A-game. I gotta bring it, okay? And there's something different. Like when people are watching you got something to freaking show. You ain't gonna lift like you ain't gonna lift half-ass. You know what I mean? If you're gonna watch me lift, I'm gonna put my best freaking foot forward. Okay? You understand what I'm saying? You're not gonna watch a half-assed version of freaking De La Stick. You're gonna get the full stick. You know? So, fellas, 740 for an absolute slow grinder. Less than 48 hours later, 760 for 5. Okay? Explain that. You couldn't explain that. Now, weaker-minded individuals that don't, not even weaker-minded individuals, people that just don't really understand strength and the game, the freaking game of mindset manipulation, would think after hitting 740, you know, like, frick, that was slow. Better take a week off, better deload. You know what I mean? It's just slow, I gotta deload, right? When in fact, you weren't feeling it that day, and that's okay, because that's normal. You're gonna have days where you don't feel it, but it doesn't mean you got to take a week off, a month off. You know, better start deadlifting once every 2 weeks because that works. You know, some days are gonna be good, some days aren't gonna be good. And when they're freaking good, you capitalize on them, right? And that's the importance of those warm-up sets. But that's not even the point, fellas. The point is, it's just sometimes it's the littlest things. You know what I mean? Sometimes it's the freaking right song that gives you the goosebumps, raises the arm hair on your freaking flesh, right? Sometimes it's just a fellow horse cock watching you. You know what I mean? Just giving you the fish eyes. You're setting up for the deadlift, right? Sometimes it's just it's just there, and there's no explaining it, right? But again, that's kind of the whole reason, as I was saying, like, well, you know, if I hit, let's say 2 days from 48 hours from now, let's say, okay, I'm going to go for 770. Okay. Of course I'm going to be able to hit it now because I hit 760 for 5. But if I went off of my workout the other day, saying I'm going to go for, 4 days from now after a slow grinder with 740, I'm saying I'm going to go for 770. Most people would think you're nuts. It's from 740 to 770. That's going to take at least a month training cycle. You know what I mean? Right? But that's not the case. And that's why I think it works so well to gradually just bump up as you go. Now today I was just feeling freaking frisky and feisty. That's why I hit that for 5. But I was even feeling a little ambitious, like a 20-pound jump. But imagine if you go 5-pound jumps, you put 2.5 on every time. You freaking hit 2.5 pounds less the previous day or two ago. You telling me you can't lift less than a half a gallon of milk? Less than half a gallon of water? You put that on the freaking bar? That's the deal breaker? That's the straw that broke the camel's back? Not your body, your mind, absolutely, but not your freaking body, fellas. Okay? And it's something else too, because this isn't even the point of the video. That's the freaking point of the video. It's the total confidence. It's the freaking mindset going in there and attacking, freaking getting feisty, frisky, freaking eat that shit up. You know what I mean? Eat that freaking bar. That's what it's all about. But then I saw some comments on like Instagram and stuff. Like, oh, you're doing half reps. Okay, half reps. First of all, I don't understand if that's a half a rep. That I don't know what if the difference is an inch, locking your knees out, not locking your knees out goes from a half to a full. I guess I'm not a math freaking rocket surgeon. You know what I mean? Mathematician. I guess I don't get it. But in my book, locking your knees out doesn't make any difference. The hardest part of the movement is driving it off the floor. Okay? And there was once a very strong man named Klokov who deadlifted the same way. You do the whole freaking movement. You just don't do the final lockout motion. Okay? For my methodology behind that is like, what good is just lock? It's like the leg press. Like you can do the freaking reps, but you never lock your knees out. Because if you lock your knees out, that's how you end up tearing your PCL, your meniscus, or something like that. So it's the same thing. Essentially, a trap bar is just like a leg press. You know what I mean? It's it's a freaking free weight leg press, basically. Why would you lock your knees out? It doesn't make any difference. Again, the hardest part of the motion is breaking it off the floor. So if that's the hardest part, just do the freaking hardest part. Because all it's going to do is going from a soft lockout to a hard lockout. Yeah, for the competition, by all means, do that. But if it's not a competition, all you're doing is just putting wear and tear on your joints, in my opinion. And what else are you doing? Well, then I guess supposedly you're saying, well, yeah, you got to lock it out. Then, you're basically your upper body and your freaking bracing and all that's getting more fatigued. But I don't care about that. If I was locking out my knees, I did a above the knee rack pull with 1,340 pounds or something like that. I'm pretty strong at locking my knees out when I want, when I want to, and I want to focus on that. There's plenty of strength. That's the easiest portion of the lift. The freaking hardest portion of the lift is breaking it off the floor. Therefore, you know what I mean? Maybe that's what you should try doing with your deadlifts. You're going for reps. You know what I mean? Just soft lockouts. But anyways, that's beyond the point, fellas. Now we're just talking, just for the sake of freaking talking. Again, 740, absolute slow freaking grinder. Nothing changed, fellas. Nothing freaking changed. Just another day. Sucked down a couple cups of cough. Sucked down a scoop of pre. Feeling freaking frisky, fired up. Got the beta-alanine, getting some tingles. Mental cues like, okay, frick, I'm in the gym. Eyeballs are on me. I'm not going to look like a quitter. I'm not going to look like a little weak, you know what I mean? A little weak freakling. I'm going to look like a power freaking, powerhouse, freaking horse force Goliath, So again, with this being said, ultimately my goal with this was to surpass the 910 pound deadlift. Ultimately the grand goal is the 1,000 pound trap bar deadlift. So going off of the previous day, I'd say, shit, that's never going to happen. Today, I'd say, when I hit the 910 trap bar deadlift, around that same time frame, I did 800 for 5. Now, I think I'm pretty close to that. I could probably do 800 for 5 in a couple more sessions. That means that probably gets me around that 910 portion. So anyways, that's not the point. That stuff doesn't benefit you guys. What benefits you is, freaking seeing the video evidence and now look at your own training, okay, and look at it from that perspective. You fail yes, and of course, this is by all means, know your body, be safe, don't ego lift and that kind of stuff. Or listen, use your ego. Ego's a good thing, all right? It's only gonna help you get bigger and stronger. But there's a fine line between utilizing your ego and letting your ego, not touching your chest on bench and all that kind of stuff. Unless you have a methodical purpose for it. Anyways, these are all for different videos. Sticky Ricky reporting out. Just had to spit this tidbit at ya. Check out that freaking footage.